One of the biggest things I see people in the running community struggle with is that they're so scared of not living up to other people's expectations for themselves that they forget who they are as a runner, and every time they step onto that starting line, they are scared to take the chance to fail. Because failure is one of the worst things you can do in the world, apparently. And the truth is so far from that. The only way you learn and the only way you progress as an athlete, as a runner, is to step on that starting line and have a willingness to fail. And the only way you can have a willingness to fail is if you step onto that starting line and you tell yourself, today, I'm going to run the best race that I can possibly run. And whenever you do that, and it's not like you're trying to run somebody else's race, that's whenever you actually progress in the long term as an athlete. Because failing because you're not living up to somebody else's expectations is a completely different thing than failing because you pushed yourself to the max. One of my favorite quotes is from Theodore Roosevelt, and he talks about how the critic is not the person who is in the arena. So the man in the arena is completely different from the person who's watching from the stands. Same way that a guy sitting at home watching a football game is not the same as the player who worked to get to where he is on the football field, to try out for the team, to do all the work, to make it to all the workouts at 5 a.m. in the morning, to actually compete for that team.
Rock Kelly, you don't quit! Keep going! Keep going!
The guy who's watching the football game has no real say in whatever the player does, but if the player starts to buy into whatever the guy who's sitting at home eating his hot wings and watching the football game says, that's when the player isn't going to be performing very well. And that's what we're going to kind of talk about today. Because whenever athletes start to buy in too much to what other people are saying, what other people from the outside are telling them that they should be doing, that's whenever athletes and runners and whoever start to struggle, because they try to live up to other people's expectations as opposed to the expectations that they have set for themselves. But what ends up happening is that you don't want to fail because you don't want to upset the critics. And whenever you don't want to upset the critics, you don't run your best race and you don't perform at your best, because what ends up happening is like you're not able to reach your full potential because you're not willing to take any risk and fail and learn from those failures. And even if you do fail, you fail for the wrong reasons. You fail because you tried to do what the critics told you should do as opposed to doing what you knew that you should do. That was some bars right there. Write that down. Write that down. That was my first 3 points right there, and I didn't even realize it. I just looked at my notes and I was like, oh, I just went through like 3 points right there. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Brock Kelly, and I am a distance runner at Mississippi College, which is a D2 school in the Gulf South Conference. Right now, I'm actually not running a whole lot because I'm dealing with a stress fracture, so we have that to deal with. It's in my tibia. It's in the, I'm wearing a boot. Ugh. Yeah, that right there. Stress fracture. But yeah, I know a lot about running, and I've been running for 12 years, and I've also worked alongside various professional athletes, so I have a little bit of a platform to speak from and a little bit of knowledge basis to share with the general public, to share with high schoolers, to share with anyone who's trying to improve their running performance. So the goal of today's video is to give you a level of confidence going into your next race that hopefully you can, if you're in a rut right now, if you're dealing with setbacks, if you're dealing with anything that doesn't have you feeling psychologically ready, you can go into your next race and be like, okay, I just have to trust that wherever I am, I'm going to be the best that I can be, and you can go up to the starting line and do the best that you possibly can. And so that's what I hope that you can accomplish from this. If you like this video, if there's things that you find that are valuable in this video, please drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, nephews, dogs, niece. That would be
lovely.
My first point was that the critics aren't the ones who are in the arena with you. My second point was to have a willingness to fail. And my third point was to learn from those failures. And so whenever you have a willingness to fail and you learn from those failures, like I said earlier, that's whenever you're going to be able to progress as an athlete and make jumps. So one of my favorite stories from when I was actually accepted failure, I accepted that there was a possibility of failure, was back in 10th grade, whenever my grandfather, he looked at me and he was like, why are you continuing to run 207? You can run faster than 207. You can probably run 159. I was like, oh, well, what are you talking about? And he was like, yeah, let's go out to the track right now. We'll just go run 159. So we went out to this paved track, and I was like scared for my life. And immediately, like, my first response whenever he said this was, no, like, I'm not gonna, like, it's not a race day. It's not, and I just like came up with all these excuses. And the reality of the situation was I needed to go out to that track and I needed to put on my shoes. I actually put on some marathon racing shoes. The track was completely paved all the way around. And I said, I'm gonna run an 800 here and I'm just gonna see what I can do. And that was an opportunity to test myself. And I didn't like it at the time. I completely rebelled against it, the idea of doing that at the time. Then ultimately I was like, why am I so scared to do this? And I decided, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna try it. And I had someone who believed in me. And because I had someone who believed in me, and because I believed in myself, that combination right there was, even if I did fail that day, if I went out and I ran 220 that day, it was just, it didn't matter. So I just accepted I was going to go out and I'm just going to run as fast as I possibly could for 800 meters. And I ended up running 2:01, which at the time was about a 6-second PR. And I realized, wait a second, I did this in trainers on a cinder track or like on a paved track. I could do more in races. And because I did that in training and because I took that chance and because I cut out that fear of failure, I decided, you know, like maybe this will actually, maybe I can, on race day, I can actually use these tactics and I can actually get better. And then the next race, I ended up running 2:01 in like an official race. And I was like, wait, okay, I'm getting better at this. That was one of my favorite times where I just had someone who believed in me, and then I also just believed in myself and I believed in what my abilities were. And I wasn't scared of failing. And so many people, they get stuck in this position where they're just scared to upset other people. They're scared to upset the people who have their coaches, their friends, their families, the people who have like believed in them. They're scared to like that they're gonna upset them and that the family's gonna what, disown you or something? Like your coach is gonna stop coaching you, your friends are gonna stop being friends with you. No, like none of that's gonna happen. Your friends wanna see you, if you have good friends, your friends, your family, your coach wants to see you be successful. They want to see you take chances. They want to see you grow as an athlete. And the only way you're ever going to grow as an athlete is if you fail. Another point I wanted to talk about was creating a healthy support structure. So this could be your friends, your family, your coach, whoever that may be, your teammates. And these people need to be there and they need to believe in you. They don't need to set these crazy expectations on you of like, oh yeah, I expect you to go out and run 12:55 in the 5K coming up here at state meet. Like that's all you, that if you don't run 12:55, then I'm gonna hate you. And like, you don't need people that are telling you that constantly. You need to have a healthy relationship with the people who truly believe in you and just want what's best for you. They want you to get out there and they want you to run to the best of your ability. And if you have people that believe in you and believe that you can just get out there and run the best of your ability, then that's all it really takes, because you're no longer trying to run for their expectations. You're trying to run for who you are as an athlete and what your abilities are and what you're capable of, and that's where you find your confidence. So I'm gonna interrupt this video real quick because I wanna actually talk about the thing that most people clicked on this video for me to talk about, which is how comparison negatively impacts your running. And whenever you compare your efforts to somebody else's, what ends up happening is you start to doubt yourself. Because you look at what somebody else is doing, you look at how somebody else races, you look at how somebody else trains, and you think, oh, well, I must not be doing enough. And that could be the truth. You might not be putting in enough work, you might not be doing the right things, but most likely you are doing the right things. You just don't have confidence in your training, you don't have confidence in your coach, you don't have confidence in your abilities, and what ends up happening is you lose sight of who you are as an athlete. That person gets better and better, and you get worse and worse because you're trying to copy their journey whenever you're on your own journey. And that is where you run into pitfalls. That's where you run into a bunch of holes and you don't know how to actually progress because you aren't looking at what you can do, you're looking at what somebody else can do. And I'm not saying it's not good to have people to look up to. I'm not saying it's not good to look up to the best runners in the world and to look up to those athletes who are on your team that are doing really well and to be inspired by those performances. But I am saying that it's bad to compare where you are in your journey to where somebody else is on their journey, because that's only going to make you discouraged and it's only going to negatively impact your performances in the long run. So that is how comparison kills running. So let's get back into the big like overarching thing that I'm talking about in this video. Yeah, I'm gonna make some coffee. Also, just wanted to say that we dropped some new items in the OE Athletics Club store, which OE Athletics Club is actually built off of this YouTube channel, because the motto of this YouTube channel is intentions over everything. And so the over everything part, I wanted this to be a separate category for intentionality in sports, intentionality in athletics. And so that was a separate brand that I created off this channel. And so if you guys want to cop a shirt, they are available in the store right now. They're cross-country inspired, so they have like cross-country over everything athletics club. They have this cool picture of some guys running through the mountains, and then they also have some other intricate details you can see on the store if you look a little closer, and then they also say over everything athletics club on the front. We're also working on some new designs that should be out in December that are going to be really good. So stay tuned for those, and yeah, let's get back into this video. I actually did make some coffee, so last thing I wanted to talk about is running your race. Now, I've kind of already talked about this a little bit, but whenever you start your run, whenever you start your race, whenever you're training, whatever your situation may be, you have to just get out there and be the best version of yourself on the day that you can be. You can't let the expectations that your coach has, or that your family has, or that your siblings, or whatever, whoever else, your teammates, whatever that may be, you can't let those expectations get to you, because all you really need to do is get out there and just run the best that you can run. And you need people who believe in you. You need people who say, no, I think you can truly run 14:30, and you're a 15:20 guy. And they're like, no, I think you can truly run this. But you have to believe in yourself, and those are the types of people you need in your life. And the people who are gonna push you. Same way my grandfather pushed me. He said, no, you can run 2 flat. And I said, yeah, like, I think I can. And it was kind of nerve-wracking. I was nervous, but I decided that I was going to do that. And I ran 2:01. It was like, oh, well, it was good. Whenever you run the best of your ability, whenever you're not worried about what other people are talking about, whenever you just step up to the line and you're like, you know, all I can really do is what I've trained for and what my training has allowed me to, and you have confidence in how the strength of your training, that's whenever you're going to make big leaps in the running world, and that's whenever you're going to become a much stronger runner in the long term. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you took something away from it. If you did, drop a like, comment down below. If there's anything that you think that you don't agree with, or if there's anything that you do agree with wholeheartedly, or if there's anything you want to add, go ahead and do that. Like, I'm by no means saying this is the only way. I think there's also additional things that you should be doing after you believe in yourself. There's also additional ways to continue to believe in yourself and to continue to push your limits and your boundaries. There's different mantras that you can say and visualizations and all sorts of different things we didn't talk about in this video. But I think if you start, if you're in a rut right now, if you're dealing with something difficult where you aren't running very well and you just don't really know why, this is a good place to start. Just start believing in yourself and just throw off those expectations that other people have for you, and that's whenever you're going to run your best. So see you guys next time. Peace.